Harry's Wife, Part 103.8. I. Objectify. No, it's not Darrell Brooks with his repeated objection, 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 but yes, it's Harry's wife. And we turn to news.com.au. We're going down under, and it's Daniela Elsa. Who else? Haha, do you see what I did there? Who brings us this bizarre interview where Harry's wife refuses to call Harry by his name. Ah, yes, the Duchess of Objectification, who cried, in effect, about being objectified by consenting to go on a programme where she more or less got her tits out and showed off the old tits and teeth for the purposes of opening briefcases, thought that she was objectified. And, of course, in the circumstances, such behaviour is not a surprise. But it goes even further, because it shows how her narcissism is focused so much upon her in-the-moment behaviour in order to assert control and draw fuel that barely, moments after such complaints, she engages in objectification of her own husband, because she doesn't call him Harry. It's my husband, my husband, my husband. So she complains about objectification and then engages in the very same behaviour. Hypocrisy, compartmentalisation, contradictory behaviour. Now, before I get into the body of the article by Daniela Elsa, the article itself has some video footage from skynews.com.au, and it is providing quotes and observations from Maureen Callahan, the editor for the New York Post, but also from observations that have been made on Twitter about Harry's wife. And it's worth letting me tell you a bit about what the video that accompanies it says. Harry's wife's new interview with Variety magazine has been mocked, with social media users calling out her narcissism. The Duchess of Sussex opened up about the death of Queen Elizabeth, her family, and a possible return to acting in an exclusive interview with Variety. See parts passim. Harry's wife described how Prince Harry remained ever the optimist despite the difficult times, telling her after the Queen had died, now she's reunited with her husband. She talked fondly about her relationship with the Queen and how fortunate she felt to have shared a nice warmth with her, which of course we've identified elsewhere as errant nonsense. The 41-year-old described the Queen as the most shining example of female leadership. 41 indeed. The Duchess also said she was really grateful that to have supported her husband, Prince Harry, during that time. Fake compassion, false empathy. She was asked how her family had processed their loss and replied that it has given them a lot of perspective. An absolutely idiotic response, which I've explained in parts passim. The video continues, where she said, "It makes you wonder what you want to focus your energy on. Right now we feel energised, excited about all of the things we've been building toward." And as I pointed out, that's a completely incongruous reaction from somebody, but entirely commensurate with her self-obsessed nature. Twitter users labelled the Duchess a narcissist following the interview and called out the insensitive timing following the Queen's death. Twitter user Vicky, "It's getting more and more intensely bizarre and ridiculous. A very bad luck. Harry's wife's narcissism and self-worship on full display. And so here we have the photo shoot of a grandiose narcissist. Hashtag Harry's wife is a narcissist." Jordan, "Harry's wife shows the world how much she's grieving the late Queen Elizabeth, because nothing says grieving like doing a photo shoot to show your soft, playful, silly side." She has a picture of Harry's wife with a hand over her mouth. Stephen Crowder, "It's never Harry's wife's fault, it's always someone else's fault. That's what you call a narcissist." And accordingly, The video from skynews.com.au is quite content to label her as a narcissist through the observations of other people. But what does Daniela Elsa have to tell us? Do you know that Harry's wife, Duchess of Sussex, former Suits star and Deal or No Deal briefcase girl, has a husband? You probably do, because you are a sentient human being with opposable thumbs and a Wi-Fi connection. But reading the Duchess's latest interview, I'm starting to wonder if she thinks we, the public, might not be quite fully aware of her marital status. In the Variety story, appearing on the magazine's cover as some beatific second coming, Harry's wife manages to use the word husband 8 times, energetically and repeatedly, seemingly intent on reminding readers that she is, in fact, hitched. And what actually she's doing is demonstrating possession of the intimate partner primary source and objectifying Prince Harry, engaging in the very behaviours that she complains about with reference to herself. A typical narcissist, a typical hypocrite, and typical Harry's wife. The article continues. If a person didn't know any better and did not have those thumbs or that Wi-Fi, they might be forgiven for thinking this husband was some intensely private individual who did not want to be sucked into his wife's PR vortex and to remain out of sight. Not, that is, the fifth in line to the throne, son of King Charles III, and a man whose birth was celebrated with a 41-gun salute, also known as Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Read the Variety piece and something fascinating comes into view. Harry looks increasingly like an adjunct in his own story. Well, of course, he's second fiddle, he's second-row Harry. In less than 2 months, we have had 2 biggie interviews with Harry's wife, both with attendant glam photo shoots, both putting her in designer dresses and photographing her twirling about Gwyneth Paltrow-worthy designer gardens, and yet in neither does he figure much beyond as an occasional guest star at most. Where, oh where, has Harry gone? So too, while they both as a couple inked those whopping deals with Netflix and Spotify, deals that a one-time cable actress and an unemployed former army officer would definitely have gotten if they didn't also happen to have royal titles, it is the Duchess who has been first out of the blocks with her Spotify series Archetypes. It is Harry's wife who is charging fourth, even if her podcast manages to be both boring and deeply self-involved, and is currently floundering in the rankings. Only 2 of the 6 episodes are in the top 100 episodes in the United States, coming in the 26th and 90th spots. And it is Harry's wife who we have witnessed coming to the media for, including even when the duo poses together. In early October, they released official images taken during the One Young World Summit, in which Harry, in what has become their go-to pose, peers over his wife's shoulder, unintentionally recreating their hilariously photoshopped Time cover. The bottom line is that as things stand, currently, in terms of Sussex output, it's very much the Harry's wife show. It always has been, of course. Perhaps this is an all-elaborate performance piece commenting on the fact that for millennia, women have been defined by their husbands, and yet when the reverse happens, we all sit up and take notice. Or perhaps Harry's happily tucked away inside their $20 million mansion, beavering away on the plans for their next Invictus Games and secretly brewing his own hard seltzer in their spare sauna. Perhaps this is exactly the division of labour that Harry wants, given he's not exactly made any secret of his feelings about the press. Whatever the reason may be why we're getting so much Harry's wife, that does not change the fact that the Variety interview should come with a warning over eye-roll injuries. While Queen Elizabeth comes in for plenty of praise by Harry's wife, I feel deep gratitude to have been able to spend time with her and get to know her. I continue to be proud to have had a nice warmth with the matriarch of the family. Her Majesty, like Harry, is reduced to the no-name treatment, with the former Suits star referring to her as her husband's grandmother. More objectification. Never mind, then, that Harry's wife's title opens a Variety piece and that she staunchly uses her royal appellation. Residual benefit? Hypocrisy. Then we get to the meat and potatoes of things, with her saying, "What's so beautiful is to look at the legacy that his grandmother was able to leave on so many fronts. Certainly in terms of female leadership, she is the most shining example of what that looks like. I feel deep gratitude to being able to spend time with her and get to know her." Interesting that despite the history-making 96-year-old being a shining example of female leadership, Harry's wife did not see fit to include Her Majesty on her 2019 British Vogue cover. Also, what of this deep gratitude? Where exactly was it when the Sussexes put out a statement in 2020, peevishly retorting that service is universal? or when their explosive Oprah Winfrey interview came out while Prince Philip was in hospital, or when during that cut interview she threw out the line, "I can say anything." When asked in fluent Californianese about the monarch's death, "How have you processed this loss as a family?" her answer is worthy of inclusion in the Smithsonian for managing to take one of the biggest news events of the year and make it about Harry's wife. "In big moments in life, you get a lot of perspective," she said. "It makes you wonder what you want to focus your energy on. Right now, we feel energized and excited about all of the things we've been building toward. We're also focused on our foundation. So much of the work we do includes the philanthropic space." Let's pause to gawp at the Olympic-level rhetorical long jump that it takes to go from processing loss to feeling energized and excited. Bonus points for managing to get a plug-in for their foundation, too. But I think the biggest takeaway from both the variety and the cut pieces is this. Harry's wife really has nothing to say. Take away her royal journey, take away her titled in-laws, and those nasty British press who failed to be impressed by her scribbling on bananas, and the miserable time she has had for 20 months of palacedom. Take away her rote lines about compassion and change, and the Duchess is a meaning-free zone. There is an unmistakable irony to the fact that if she had not married the Queen's grandson, it is highly doubtful that anyone would be clamouring to hear her point of view. In fact, nobody really is, are they? Also, she's just not very interesting. In this piece, we learn that she likes wine and Wordle and Beyoncé. Well, hold the front page. What the variety and the cut stories prove is that the Duchess of Sussex might be one of the most famous women in the world, but she's also quite boring. I'd go on to say that she is very boring. Here's hoping that her husband, whatever his name is, doesn't think so. Scathing indeed. Demonstrating, of course, another journalist that sees through her, knows that she's boring, and hilariously identifies the fact that Harry's wife runs around preaching about being objectified while she engages in the very same behaviour with regard to the Queen and also in particular her husband, which of course is precisely how she sees them, as objects. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.